Hey guys, welcome back to The Heads Project. I'm John Ortalaza, and in the lead up to The Conjuring, The Devil Made Me Do It, or The Conjuring 3, whatever you want to call it, I don't know why they called it that, I'm going to be reviewing The Conjuring and The Conjuring 2 in the lead up for the third film. None of the Annabelle films or The Nun. I don't really want to do that right now. Or ever. They just don't really appeal to me. I'm not a huge horror fan, but as you will know in this video, this movie surprised me, so let's talk about it. So I'm not a big horror fan, sue me. Like, I wasn't brought up watching horror films when I was 5. No, I watched Star Wars and then 90s and 2000s comedy films. Would you guys consider the first Alien and the first Terminator to be horror films? I would. I mean, they're very horror-filled. Those are probably one of the first two, and then up until the last 5-6 years I started watching some, like Lights Out was one of them. Happy Death Day, which isn't really, that's kind of comedy horror, I guess. And Hereditary, which I don't know, I gotta rewatch that at some point. So yeah, I'm not a huge horror fan, but then I got a chance to check out The Conjuring finally, and I was pleasantly surprised. This was genuinely scary, terrifying, and mysterious. I guess one of the biggest things holding me back from watching any of the Nightmare on Elm Street movies or the Halloween. Oh, I did see a Halloween movie once, the one from 2008. I think it's a remake. I don't know. It wasn't that good. But the reason why I'm really kind of holding back watching these horror films with these horror movie mascots, whatever you want to call them, I don't know, they're kind of off-putting, they're kind of cheesy looking to me, and yeah, I'm just not into that stuff. I like something where at the end of the movie I still don't fully understand what was haunting me. That's what I really appreciate about The Conjuring. There's no like entity that you are exposed to. There's this creepy lady that she kind of shows up in like 2 or 3 scenes, but she doesn't really make her presence felt. She doesn't stand in the middle of the room and be like, I am the enemy of the film, give me your soul. Like, it's nothing like that. What I really dug about the scares in this film is how methodical that they're played out, how they're filmed too. The cinematography in this movie is really good. There are some points in the film where they're going down to the basement of the haunted house and it feels kind of like found footage like. They're obviously like recording a documentary, but there's even other shots where you just see the mother going downstairs and it looks just like that. It looks like there's a camera following her down there. It feels real. It feels raw. It feels a lot more real than the stupid Paranormal Activities movies. Oh, I saw number 4 as well of the Paranormal Activity movie. They're ass. I don't want to watch the other ones. As serious as all the other horror films that I've mentioned already take themselves, a lot of them don't feel like they're genuine scares. Like the Paranormal Activity film, the one that I saw, felt like it was just setting up all of these scares, whereas Conjuring, it felt real. I felt like I was living in this world as the family, as the mother who was experiencing these things head on. And the kids too. The kids were experiencing some very traumatizing stuff. Like, if they ever made sequels following the same people of the first Conjuring film, like, you can only imagine like that physical toll that this creepiness has put on them. The family in this film is really good. You really do buy into the fear of all the daughters. The father is excellent, and even the mother, she's really good in the movie. But if I gotta say 2 people that steal a show, it's gotta be Patrick Wilson and Vera Farmiga as Ed and Lorraine Warren. They're the Ghostbusters of the film, and they take this ridiculous presence that technically is based on a true story. That's what they say. It's based on case files from the 1960s, I believe. Wilson and Farmiga, and even James Wan as the director, they all brought this outlandish and supernatural presence of the plot to life and made it feel real, and that's the best thing about this film. There are scenes set up to be like jump scares in this film, but they're not played out like other jump scares in other movies. The entity will pop up right in front of the human character. They won't scream and run away. No, they'll just be like, oh my God. And then they'll like move on with the scene. Like, they don't just start running. Maybe they should run away. I know I'd probably run away if just popped up next to me. But it's more than that. It's more, they're trying to deal with this presence, this demonic presence. They're trying to rid of it. And that's the most engaging part. You want them to get rid of this presence. You don't just want this presence to eat them all alive and tear the family apart. No, that's the last thing you want to do. The film does a really good job getting you to care about everyone in the film, making sure they're all safe and sound, that they don't get eaten alive or turn into a demon. It's crazy. Also, one of the best parts about this movie is I saw it for a second time a couple of days ago, and I didn't remember when things were about to pop up or what scares were about to happen next. I was genuinely scared the second time, like I was watching it for the first time. It was wild. Overall, I think the scares in this film were done very well, but if you're a fan of this type of content, you're obviously gonna see things coming a mile away. You're gonna think the movie's a little predictable. I personally don't. I don't watch horror films like this, so even the second time watching this film, things were kind of unpredictable, and I didn't remember anything really. Maybe that's just my head, my old age coming through at 21. I would say the first Conjuring is amongst the best horror films that I've ever seen. That is if you count the first Alien or Terminator, because they got a little bit of stuff in there that I kind of like a little more. But in terms of just full-on horror, The Conjuring is really good, and I highly recommend it if you have never checked it out yet. Leave a like, subscribe to the channel if you're new, and be sure to stick around, guys, because I'm going to be covering The Conjuring 2 very soon. Just got to rewatch it. From what I remember, it wasn't as good as the first one, but I still did appreciate a lot of the things that they did in the film. It's not terrible. It's just, we'll get into my little nitpicks that I have with the second film, and you can just forget about Annabelle and the Nun. I don't want to talk about those for a while. Or they just don't look appealing to me. I'm not into that type of stuff, the horror mascot stuff. I'll be honest, when I first saw The Conjuring and it opened up with an Annabelle sequence, I was like, oh, well, is she the main antagonist of the film? But thankfully she wasn't. She kind of just sat in a case the whole movie, so that's good. As always, guys, you might want to stick around the channel because there's going to be a bunch of content coming your way. I'm covering The Bad Batch right now every Friday. It's going to be going on for like 10 to 12 more weeks. I forget. But you might want to stick around because there's always more to come.